Hi, I'm Christian, and this is my pitch for Fencing in a Land Divided. So, my documentary is about the fencing culture and the competitive environment it fostered in Germany and other European countries. The historical context of Germany during the 70s and 80s, a time where the Berlin Wall was up and the country was split in two, hence the title. My documentary will also address the impact that these events had on the players fencing at the time, and how fencing helped these players by giving them some form of escapism from the world as they knew it, and to allow them to direct their focus to something that built friendships for these athletes that have lasted. This documentary currently has three participants who are interested in telling their stories. One of these is my dad, an epee specialist who I've already interviewed for Task 1 and for the raw footage included at the end. Another participant is a gentleman named Marius, a saber player who lives driving distance away from me, who used to compete in a separate discipline from my dad, meaning he will have different stories to tell, allowing for an audience to hear new information. The last person is a man named Oscar. Oscar was a foil player who is currently living in Germany. Oscar was almost selected for Germany's Olympic team. However, due to a car accident, his leg was broken and he was forced to retire. Due to Oscar living in Germany, a potential issue may be the audio captured from his interview, which will most likely be from a laptop microphone. This will lead to poorer audio quality compared to the other two participants. Plus, if the Wi-Fi causes more issues, the picture and audio may also be affected heavily too. Availability may also be an issue further down the line, as one of the participants is in a different time zone, and another is facing medical problems, which is another issue. I wouldn't want to risk increasing these issues of the participant if setting up an interview puts too much strain on them. One of my inspirations behind this documentary is Scorsese's concert film The Last Waltz. During the interview portions of this documentary, Scorsese generally opts for more single person shots filmed from the shoulders up, with the participants looking at him off camera, a style I believe works best for my topic. We only ever see the director once or twice on screen, as he seems to prefer being behind the scenes while making this. He also asks open-ended questions, something that I think will create a better flowing documentary, that allow the band members to get into anecdotes which then flow into the next piece of music. The other inspiration for this documentary idea is the Michael Portillo train travel series. It's a very relaxed format. The music is quite calming and pleasant to listen to while watching, which is the kind of music I feel would potentially work best for this topic. This series is also full of relevant B-roll that adds a lot of added context for viewers, which I hope to add to mine. He also recites stories and history to the camera to add a backstory to the locations he's visiting in this series, something I think will be important in telling the stories of the three participants. Before shooting and recording any further interviews, I will need to gather written and or verbal consent from the participants to make sure they are happy to share their stories for other people to see, to not just myself. I would also be holding myself accountable and making sure I am not misrepresenting the facts and stories they have agreed to share, as I would not want to break their trust by creating my own narrative out of their stories. To make sure this doesn't happen, I'd be showing each participant the final cut before it is submitted to make sure they are happy with how the final documentary has come out and how their story has been shown. The equipment I will be using includes the Canon EOS 1500D DSLR, the Manfrotto 290 Extra tripod, and the Rode Wireless Go microphones. However, I am also considering using the handheld rig in case any walking shots are needed. The roles required for this film will be the director, the interviewer, the cameraman, the sound, and the editor. However, there probably will be multiple editors. And filming can start next week from Monday, with editing happening as the film progresses, as this will save time in the long run. The proof of concept you're about to see is one participant reflecting fondly on receiving an armband for the national team and the significance that it holds for them. B-roll is included of them seeing the armband again and reminiscing. So, what was the experience like getting your country's armband?
Actually, it was pretty unreal. It was after a whole year, whole season of fencing with 6 big competitions that counted for the national rankings. And in 4 of them, I managed to score points and found myself at the end of the season in number 8 of the national rankings, which meant national team. And to get that armband in the tracksuit, the same as the other people who were world champions, Olympic champions, and kind of made me feel like being one of them. That was just a fantastic experience.
What do you remember of the most significant travel you had to do for fencing?
We did quite a bit of traveling, but the one that always got me was every year we went to Berlin to the International German Championships and to West Berlin, which was part of West Germany. And to get there, we had to drive through much all of East Germany. And it's hard to imagine today that you have 2 countries within one country. And whilst we could travel to France, Spain, or the UK with our national identity card only, you couldn't do that. You had to have a passport to go through East Germany. And you got to the border, and it is like in the movies: brick walls, concrete barriers, armed guards, barbed wire. You had to stop,